Hey guys, Dan here,
And Frank, Godzilla Island.
and we are the Mazer Squad coming with you at the 12th episode. Today we're going to be reviewing Kong Escapes as our main event, but we're also going to be reviewing Territory issue number 1. Frank has previously reviewed it, but we decided we're going to add it on as a continuing series that we're going to be reviewing on the show, so we're going to start from the beginning.
Yeah, we figured we'd go a little more in depth. I mean, the other videos were just me, and I figured just do a little more in depth so we could both talk about it. You have the third issue just came out a few weeks ago. All the backers should have got it in the mail. The digital version's been out a little while, so we're gonna move on and discuss those three issues on the next three episodes, and we have a lot more to cover.
Yeah, and we have some news topics that we're going to be covering as well. Starting off with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, which is going to be the 30th anniversary Netflix special coming out. We got a release date. It's going to be April 19th.
Yeah, that's our 1 year anniversary of
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah, it is. So it's pretty crazy that we're going to have something like that coming out on the 1 year. Maybe we'll do a special episode. No idea.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, the trailer looked awesome for that. It looks really cool that they're bringing everyone back. That they're bringing back.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were bummed out about Amy Jo Johnson not coming back, and she came out today saying that it wasn't a money thing. It wasn't that they didn't ask me. She's like, I'm 50 years old and I don't feel like wearing tights on TV.
Yeah, and then I think it was, I think you said it was like a 1 month shoot in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to commit the time to it. I honestly don't care. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah, and she even said her and JDF both said that they didn't want to do it. It's not that they weren't asked or anything. There's no behind the scenes dramas. What she was saying. There's been a lot of speculation around that, but the show looks great. I'm really excited. They're bringing back Rita. I'm sure Zed's coming. I don't know if it's supposed. I thought it was going to be connected to Dino Fury, Cosmic Fury, but they didn't show any of that team in the trailer.
I think they wanted to keep it as mainstream as possible.
Yeah, they wanted a nostalgia packet to pull in all the 90s kids.
I'm sure they're going to have them transition over at the end of this special to bring in Cosmic Fury, but you would imagine with the, I mean, it's in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, but with Trini's daughter taking over as the Yellow Ranger, you would imagine they want to transition her over to a character role on Cosmic Fury, maybe. No idea.
Yeah.
But if they're gonna,
she could be the mysterious Orange Ranger. Maybe that's who it's gonna be.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. The trailer was pretty good, and I hope they like address like what the characters have been up to and why we haven't seen them for like 29 years. At least for Zach, why he hasn't been around, and maybe we'll find out like what was going on with Billy, why he's back on Earth. I'd really appreciate if they actually like put the effort in for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm wondering what the runtime of this is gonna be.
I would imagine like 45 minutes to an hour at most.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm kind of hoping it to be like a movie almost, but not like a full length.
Yeah, well, maybe an hour.
Never know what we'll get.
Yeah, you never. I don't know. They haven't said anything as far as I'm aware.
No.
I know. I'm pretty happy with it.
No, me too. It looks really cool, and it looks like we're gonna see a full Ranger team.
Yeah.
In it, so I don't know who's gonna fill in the part as the Green. Who's gonna?
So they could always, that looked like that was at the beginning scene.
Yeah, it could be a flashback, maybe.
So they could always just be like, "Oh, Tommy had to go off and do something."
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna say that Soul of the Dragon is canon, which I would hope it is because it was JDF's story and it was actually probably the best ending you could probably have for Tommy. If we're gonna say that comic book is canon, I would say that, in that comic book he does get injured as the Green Ranger, and he can only morph one more time as each Ranger. So, maybe he goes off and gets injured, and that's why he's not in this. Who knows what they're going to do? I mean, they have to how do you not address it and not write him off as we're not going to see him in live action anymore?
Yeah.
I feel like you at least owe that to him. I mean, whether he was hot or cold with the people running the franchises at the time, he's still the person who put the most time into that franchise. So
Oh yeah.
you have to kind of
Yeah.
give him his dues,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll see what they do with that.
No, absolutely. I can't wait for it.
And speaking of JDF, we have some news of his last movie, which was Legend of the White Dragon.
The big passion project of his.
Yeah, it was, and it's supposed to be like a dark, gritty Power Rangers. What he wanted. It was produced by Bat in the Sun, which is the guy who did like those two. I think it was like White Ranger versus Scorpion, and like Green Ranger versus you. I can't remember. This was so long ago that those little videos came out online.
Yeah.
But
it looks like it's gonna be really awesome, especially for the Ranger fans.
It's gonna be interesting. I was a backer back in 2020, and I understand a lot of things happened that year, but it was filmed. We were told it was gonna be December 2020. Then we were told, well, we got this like miracle backer that put a bunch of finances behind it, and then ever since then it's been a project that's just been like, what's going on with it? They don't do anything with the backers. Like they just give the regular updates that they put on Twitter on the Kickstarter, and like people keep saying like, when are we getting our rewards? Like, are we gonna get it when this movie premieres in November? And like they're not even answering any questions.
What are the rewards for the Kickstarter?
So I think it was like $20. You got the digital version. $50. You got the digital and the physical.
Okay.
And like some T-shirts and goodies and stuff. I haven't even gotten my survey. I mean, it's like, maybe I have, but maybe I filled it out a very long time ago.
Wow. All right.
You know, I really wish that, you know, the fans are the ones that made this happen. I really wish that they'd be more involved with this. But I understand it's his last movie, so if they're going to try to make it the biggest thing they possibly can, I'm behind it.
Yeah, like, is it going to go straight to theaters within the backers? The backers should get first dibs at it, since, they are the first one. They are the ones that funded it.
At least give us a digital code.
Yeah, because then, you know, like...
What was the point of backing?
Once it hits theaters, you could only assume it's going to hit DVD if it's going to make it into the theater, or Blu-ray. So... I think it would only be fair that the backers get first dibs on all that stuff, and it should be upgraded to like a special backer edition now too, especially if it's going to get mass produced.
So what I'm worried about is that the backers were promised a Blu-ray with a blooper reel, and I'm afraid that that's what they're going to get, and then there's going to be a wide release version that's better. That's honestly the way I think this is going. The Kickstarter version is going to be the inferior version of the movie. I hope that doesn't happen.
That would be a shame. They got to definitely do something for the backers.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. Excited for the movie though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks cool. Always looking forward to new movies.
Yeah, and in more
speaking of
kind of depressing news, one of our first topics that we covered when we started doing this podcast was Funko Entertainment purchasing Mondo collectibles. Mondo's known for their posters. They work with Waxworks Records to produce things like this. And their collectibles are a little bit more high-end. Statues, tiki cups.
Like this puzzle.
Stuff that costs a little bit more money than a Funko Pop. So it made sense that they would want to acquire this company that's already producing kind of more high-quality collectible than what Funko is. Let's be frank here. Yeah. But last week, Funko had $30 million in pops that they couldn't sell. So they got destroyed and they got a tax write-off. And they probably, instead of dealing with it themselves, they're laying off half the staff of Mondo.
That's messed up. Yeah. And you know, the thing with Funkos, I get it. There's still people out there that go nuts collect them. I have a few. I only get the select few that I like. I don't go out of my way looking for them. I don't go nuts for them. But it's become a market now where so many different people are doing it now. Now they're even doing it two ways. They're doing now the Funko Pop cans, the soda pops.
Yeah. And
then they have I forgot the name of the other company, but they made like the Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, where they look a little blocky.
Yeah, I know, but there's like a million copycat companies now.
Yeah, they're called like user like
U-Tunes or something like
yeah,
that.
something like that. Yeah, but there's a couple of companies now that are doing it, and they're doing it in maybe questionably a better quality too.
Yeah,
And it's
I
I
think
felt like it was a I don't want to call it a fad, but it's kind of gone on pretty long. I feel like
yeah,
Funko's.
I feel like they own a bunch of other collectible brands as well. Like Loungefly makes their bags and apparel, and I
Yeah.
think that if Funko is going to survive, the pop it has to go away. I mean, it's basically a Beanie Baby at this point, and they have to just
Yes,
start
that's
putting out.
exactly how I feel
They have
about
to
it.
start putting out. I mean, I understand the appeal of it is that it's a $10 collectible, but they have to start putting
Yes.
out other kind of maybe more useful collectibles. Like I have a Loungefly backpack. That's my backpack every single day for work. It's great. You know, it's a good high quality backpack. It's not as good as a JanSport, but it's Star Wars related, and you know, Kerry has a couple of pocketbooks from there, and it's a good leather product. I don't know if it's a real leather, but you know,
If it's fake leather that looks good though, that's
it's
awesome.
fake leather
But
that looks good, and you know that gets the vegans involved.
uh,
Um, so if they can focus on maybe a more high quality stuff that people actually want and will use, and have really good high quality licensed products, I think that's the way you should probably take the brand.
yeah, yeah. I feel like the thing with licensed products, like even just like shirts. Like I see a couple of these sites now. They always put out awesome shirts lately, but it's like you're ending up paying $30 for the shirt. Then you're gonna pay $10 shipping. You're ending up paying almost $40 or more for a T-shirt now.
Yeah.
So like I've got my last few shirts from like T Public, and they're a little cheaper, and it's supporting an artist. So
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's the actual artist
yeah,
T Public page, I'm 100%
yeah,
behind it.
yeah.
You know,
I get it. Getting the licensing is hard, and I guess the profit margin is very slim. That they have to jack the prices up on these shirts, but it still stinks to be buying a $30 T-shirt,
yeah. And if
man.
it's going to be a $30 t shirt, I want it to be high quality, something that's going to last
Yes.
long, printed on, like a good printing, not that like stuff that's going to crinkle.
Yeah.
Like that's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Funko could get in on that action.
They could. You know, they're the company to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's
I mean,
good people that work.
you see
there.
that the conventions, like it's come to the point where they've overrun conventions. It's like just the stands are Funkos,
Yeah, but
and they're just expensive just because of
you know,
the
you
collectors.
see a
Yeah,
couple whales that buy a bunch, but then everyone's just kind of looking at them, but they don't buy them. You have
Yeah.
like the people that are into it at the convention, which isn't a lot, but they spend a lot of money. And then it's everyone else that's like, oh, look, they have this. They're not
yeah.
going to buy
They
it.
literally have everything now.
Yeah.
You could think of the character, the show, anything. They have it.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, like I have my Ultraman ones behind me. I have the Godzilla one, and that's it.
yeah.
I don't go crazy unless it's a character I really like. I'm not searching for them.
Yeah. I get them. Yeah. You know, every once in a while, but I'm not super into it. I used to collect like very early days when I was back in college. So we're talking like 10 years ago. I sold off all the expensive ones.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of them you literally can't get rid of. Like nobody wants them.
Yeah, it's just a piece of plastic.
Yeah. And then we got some
Some movie news.
yeah, some movie news.
It's crazy. You know, we always say we really like the Meg. It was like one of those movies that we came out of. We were like, that movie had no right being that good
Yeah.
and enjoyable. It was one of the most enjoyable movies we've actually seen in theaters in a while.
Yeah, and that was like right before the pandemic. And the cool thing about it is like the cast that was in it, like you didn't even realize like how stacked that cast kind of was.
It was a pretty heavy cast, yeah. I mean, Jason Statham. They had
There, Cliff
I can't think
Curtis, Rainn Wilson, Ruby
Rainn
Rose.
Wilson, Ruby Rose. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's just some of the people that were in it, and it was just like you know, it was like a good monster movie. Like it was the modern day Jaws.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well,
I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a good shark movie since Jaws. I mean, we've seen all the Jaws. The first one's always the best. I could watch it any
yeah,
day at any moment. Turn on the TV, no matter what spot it's on. I'll watch it.
yeah.
Um,
The other
but
one's not so.
the Meg was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. If they were to do a Jaws remake, it wouldn't do as good as the Meg.
No, I can't see it. But since we're talking, we've been waiting for when the Meg 2, the Trench trailer is coming out, because it's based on a book series. So there's several books for this, and they're supposedly really great books. Once I saw that movie, I'm like, I got to read the books. I haven't had the chance to read them yet. But
that's how it always works.
It's coming out August 4th this summer, which is not too far off, and we still don't have a trailer or a teaser. But April 28th next month, there's another Megalodon movie that was like dropped out of the sky this week, called The Black Demon. It's based on like a real legend. I believe it takes place in Mexico, and it follows a man and his family. They go down there. I believe he's a oil rig inspector, and he gets to this town. The last time he was there to check out this rig, the town was like all prosperous and great. And he gets down there. He wants to take his family there on vacation, and the town's like ransacked, overrun, abandoned. And he goes out to the oil rig that they show in the trailer, and the whole oil rig's abandoned as well. He's like, "What the hell happened here?" And him and his family end up trapped on the oil rig because it turns out there's a Meg out there in the ocean that wants to take back its territory. It doesn't like the oil rig there. And the whole plot of the movie is he's got to figure out a way to get back to the mainland and not get eaten by the Meg. And it looks really cool. The animation on the Megalodon looks good. It doesn't look cheesy. For a movie that came out of nowhere, it looks pretty good. It looks like it's a horror-y shark movie.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. Probably
So we got
probably
two
check it out.
Megalodon movies this year.
You know, is that like direct to DVD or?
No, it's going
Streaming?
to be in theaters April 28th.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a streaming movie or.
No, that's why I was like, this thing came out of nowhere. It's like, boom, we're going to the movies.
All right.
I have a feeling it's not going to do great just because they literally dropped it out of the sky. I mean, we're talking it's a month away basically from this recording.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, talking of other movies that got dropped out of the sky, we still have that Asylum. Was it Gorilla versus
Ape vs. Mecha Ape?
Ape versus Mecha Ape, starring Tom
the sequel
Arnold.
Yes, Tom Arnold in an Asylum movie. I watched the trailer. The Mecha Ape design looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and it looks.
They're always pretty decent at designing monsters or something. Even the monster for Ape vs. Monster, which this is the sequel to. The monster was actually a really good design.
I'm like, I saw the trailer, and I was like, I kind of want to watch. We're covering this on the show. Like, it looks like it could be better than some of the other kaiju movies that I've recently bought. Congo TNT. It looks like it could be pretty decent.
It could be half decent. Hey, I mean, we're covering King Kong Escapes, so it's basically a King Kong Escapes remake in a way. Not really.
I'm excited for it, though.
Yeah, no, I think I'm definitely gonna end up watching it. If you say you want to cover it, we're gonna cover it.
I kind of want to cover it. Like,
all right.
I think it's gonna be.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do a double gorilla versus robot gorilla.
Is it out?
Clip. No, it's not out.
Okay.
Yet. I actually don't know when it comes out. We got to look into that. Usually when Asylum announces their movies, they're like, boom, out. Like they announced that
multiverse movie.
That multiverse movie that they did, where it was like all their movies, monsters, just jammed in one movie. They announced it and it was like out like the next day.
Oh man, Asylum.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, you know.
Yeah, basically. speaking of movies that are probably going to go direct to streaming, I don't know. That's the only way I can think of a transition. We have a lot of Netflix news that dropped. First off, Gamera Rebirth. Not only have they started showing more pictures, they showed with Jiger's. Yeah, well, they showed Jiger's design, and then like the next day they followed it up with a trailer.
Yeah, the trailer was awesome.
Yeah.
I think this series is going to be really. I kind of have Singular Point vibes from the animation and
So I was
fighting.
I was getting Ultraman vibes.
You know, yeah. It's just basically, it's all Netflix animation at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I get it's different studios, but a lot of it is very similar. Yeah.
Well, the thing that I noticed is that, which they changed in Ultraman Season 2. The first season for Ultraman, at least for every single time I've watched it, you said you haven't noticed it. It had that slightly choppy frame rate that kind of like... It wasn't quite Spider-Verse level of choppiness, but
All right.
it was just a little bit choppy that I felt like it didn't distract me at all. And the second season of Ultraman had like a fluid frame rate and it like distracted me. But anyway, going back to this Gamera trailer, like, my lord, did they like deliver on?
Oh man, this looks like it's gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait. We have Jiger, which is the first female kaiju for Gamera. We last saw Jiger in 1980 for Gamera the Super Monster. First appeared in 1970, Gamera vs. Jiger. I'm gonna be honest, that movie is not one that I remember. I've only seen it like maybe once. I was always Gamera vs. Gallus, Gamera vs. Giron, Gamera vs. Zebra. Those three I saw a ton of. Yep.
Giron guy.
Yeah, you gotta look Giron. So I definitely it's before you know what this series is going to be upon us, and I've been wanting to say let's do a Gamera movie for the show. There's just so many to choose from, but I think that's one that maybe we should cover because I didn't watch that one a lot.
Yeah, I think we should too.
Yeah, so that one we might do sooner rather than later. You never know.
I'm excited. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, I kind of want to start rewatching the Showa Gamera movies. I think it's going to be all Showa in this one.
I kind of hope it is, and then I'm hoping that we get a second season that brings in the Heisei stuff. I really hope my super wish for this is that we get Gara Sharp in the Lost Gamera movie. So
that would be awesome.
That's my hope, because there's a lot of monsters. I don't think they're gonna be able to do all the Showa monsters because there's still we got Gauss, Jiger, we still have Zegra, Giron, and Virus, and then Garaship is the sixth. So I'm hoping that we get Garaship. Oh, and Baragon too. How could we forget Baragon?
Yeah.
So the 7 monsters. So even without Garaship, they can't fit all the Showa monsters in it. So I feel like one of those is gonna have to sit out.
Yeah, or they can do like this dead
fusion.
kaiju washed up on shore type of thing.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a cop-out, but it's still kind of cool.
Yeah. Or maybe they could do like a combination of the 2 kaiju. Who knows?
Yeah, they could do that as well. I'm excited for the series, and just like to hear like the Gamera roar in the trailer. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, the Gamera design, the roar and the Gamera design. It's just you can't it's an iconic roar. I mean, it's almost like the Godzilla roar. Yeah, they've changed it a little, but I don't think they've ever changed the Gamera roar. Even throughout Heisei, everything, it's always been the same roar. I'm sure that it's slight differences, but it's the same roar.
Yeah, for the most part, it's the same roar.
Yeah.
Speaking of Netflix, we have Ultraman the final season, and they gave us a release date of May 11th.
Yeah, the poster looks awesome. They dropped a pretty sweet poster.
I'm like, I'm like half like I'm gonna take a day off from work to watch this, and the other half of me is like I don't want to watch this because I don't want it to end.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they still have the mangas. I don't know where they stand on the mangas, if they're going to be bringing an end to the manga as well. I still got a lot of catching up on the mangas. I have, I'm looking right now, I have 10, 11, 12, and 13 right in front of me that I still got to read. And I think they're going to be up to 19 or 20 soon. So
Yeah.
I'm only like halfway. I'm at where the second season started, basically, but the second season abandoned the mangas, so these mangas have nothing to do with the show, really. There's some, I'm sure, things taken.
Similarities, but not.
Yeah. I'm really excited. So the last one was, what, 3 episodes the second season, but it was like 3 long episodes, am I right? Or was it...
I think it was six
short
episodes, but they were a half-hour long, so it was like it was like a 3-hour movie.
Yes, yeah. The last one, yeah, because it took place overnight.
Yeah, it all happened in one shot. There was no long form story being told there.
Yeah. So I don't know what we're getting. I'm assuming for this season we're gonna get something similar. I would like something maybe a little longer just to get a little more story going.
Especially since that first season, you get the feeling that takes place over the course of like maybe a year-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
They don't really give you a hard timeline, but just for this one to just be like an overnight, this happened overnight thing.
Yeah.
I just want a little bit more.
The second season was just a movie, honestly.
It was an awesome movie. But
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the music was amazing in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Music, you can always count on them for good music in the animes and everything.
Yeah. And if we're going
to... yeah. That ending, I forgot the ending credits for that second season.
So
it just hit me. Yeah.
I'm still in the car. Like sometimes in the car, like I'm still like, "Hey Siri," like.
It is a banger, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it really is.
And then the Ultraman movie, maybe we'll get a trailer as an after credit thing. Is what I'm thinking. Maybe
that would be good. It would make sense.
That would be cool. Because it's almost like when on the season 2 of The Witcher, when they ended the second season, they gave a trailer for the Witcher Blood Origins series, which was a spin-off. The movie, I don't believe, is going to be a spin-off of this series. It looks like it's its own thing. But we've got nothing on that movie but a poster still. So I'm really looking forward.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be out this year? I don't even know when it's supposed to.
I have no clue. To me, that's in the same boat as the Kong series.
Yeah.
It's going to come out when it comes out.
Yeah. The good thing about that is, for these two things, if it's the same case for the Ultraman movie as with the Kong series, Netflix is giving them time. They're saying, you do this thing, you make it right. So they should be good. I mean, Cyberpunk Edge Runners has won tons of awards. That was a Netflix anime. I watched it. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. It made me want to play Cyberpunk again, and I started a second playthrough. So Netflix can pull off good animes. I mean, they did the League of Legends, another video game based anime.
That won a bunch of awards.
That won a ton of awards too. So I think Netflix is going to knock it out of the park with the Gamera series, the Ultraman series, and hopefully the Kong and Ultraman movie.
Yeah, I don't agree with a lot of the Netflix stuff. Like, for the most part, I think it's a waste of money, but their anime is very good.
Yeah, even Pacific Rim the Black, awesome. Such an under talked about show. You should check that one out too yourself.
Well, when I get the omnibus, I'm gonna definitely pick it up.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, and then just the last bit of Toku adaptation news. Shin Kamen Rider's coming out, and they released the first 2 minutes of the movie, just like they did with Shin Ultraman.
I mean, it's been killing it over there in Japan, the Shin Kamen Rider movie. So I'm really excited for it. Like I said, my prediction is based off the gaps between Shin Ultraman and its theatrical release and Shin Godzilla and its Blu-ray release, DVD release. I'm predicting around October, November, we might get to see it in theaters. I really hope we do.
Maybe. I don't know if it's gonna be a Fathom event or
I,
not.
it's gotta be.
I mean, it's
I would love it to be a full release, but it's gonna be a Fathom
gonna be a
event.
Fathom, and it's
Absolutely.
gonna be a hard R.
Yeah, yeah. I just watched that opening clip that you were talking about before the show started, and there's a lot of blood.
I'm sitting at the table with my wife and my baby, and she's holding him, and we're like, oh, we were watching it. It says like PG-12 on the trailer, so I'm like, okay. So we're watching it, and then the first punch, you just see a cloud of blood.
Yeah, just fist through skulls.
And I was like, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. No, it gave me like the Kamen Rider Amazons vibes.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought that was the dark. I
Yeah.
didn't think they were going to go that dark.
I just finished watching that on my flight home yesterday. I watched the last 3 episodes.
Oh,
really good.
Because I didn't put it into the news, but that's getting taken off of Amazon in like a week or two.
Oh man! So we can't even tell people to go watch it. That's terrible. Maybe
I'm gonna say
that could be a good sign. Maybe that means we're gonna get a physical release then.
That's what I was saying. I was like, maybe that's a sign that like Shout Factory or Discotheque is optioning it for a wide release.
It is an excellent series. It's my first introduction into Kamen Rider, and I know it's not quite Kamen Rider accurate because it's adult focused and it's super bingeable. It's just like each episode's right into the next. Like it's all connected. Oh man, it's excellent. I mean,
and maybe we'll get that that movie.
If they threw that on, like, I feel like, oh, that's like such like a movie. Like if they threw that on like Netflix or something and like they advertise it, I feel like non-Toku fans would be super into it just because of the way the shows are written. It's just like one of those shows that's like forces you to just keep going. It's like, oh my god, I gotta see what happens next. I gotta see what happens next. Excellent. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. The second season. I was like, because it brings in like a whole new crew, and I was like, I don't know, am I into this? And then as it gets going, older people start coming back, and the story starts to grow, and you're like, oh, they did an amazing, because it takes a 5-year jump between the first and second season, and then there's a movie which I have not seen yet. I just got it today. I acquired it.
You acquired it.
It wasn't on Amazon, so I had to go out there and find it, and I'm gonna watch that in the next week or two, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that if this doesn't, they don't make an announcement of this series being available somewhere else, a lot of people are going to be acquiring it.
Yeah. Hey, we gotta watch our Toku, man.
Yeah, we gotta watch our Toku. But yeah, keep your eyes open for Shin Kamen Rider. Be vocal on Twitter. Make sure that people know that we want it here in America.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting the Godzilla Battle Line treatment they just announced yesterday or the day before. So he's making his way here. We got the Shin Kamen Rider game also. So yeah, be vocal for it, push for it, support it. I'm super excited.
I'm hoping that maybe they'll announce it for like All Monsters Attack or something. They'd be like, oh, we're doing a con showing.
Ooh. I wouldn't be surprised. That's what they did with Shin Ultraman. They did all these random con showings here and there, film festivals and special screenings. New York Comic Con, they did Shin Ultraman. Shin Kamen Rider, like I said, I'm guessing October, November, it would fall right around New York Comic Con again. They could do the special screenings.
They could.
And it wouldn't be surprising if they did have like the Tamashii Nation booth there again with Kamen Rider. Might want to try to get to New York Comic Con. I haven't done that in years.
It's always such an ordeal.
The guy I work with always tells me you just got to go on Thursday. It's the least busiest day. It's the shortest day, but you can get you get what you want to get in. And that's about it on the Shin Kamen Rider front. Next up, we have some Godzilla news. We have the Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again novelizations have been translated to English. The original novelizations from way, way, way back have been translated in English. I believe it was done by a college.
Yes.
I believe.
Well, they're the ones that are publishing it.
Yeah, they're the ones that are publishing it, and it's pretty exciting news. I could always go for a good novelization of the movie. The King Kong novella. I picked it up from the King Kong on Broadway show a few years back when it was on Broadway. Great read, and it even adds more to the story. So I'm hoping we get some more out of the Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again novelization or novella.
Yeah. I don't know if Godzilla novelization project has said anything online yet about what they're doing with their project. I mean, I know they're doing every single movie.
Yes.
So this doesn't really put a dent in them too much, but it does take away the first two.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that they didn't have their stuff online, because just in case, I wouldn't want their stuff to get taken down or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, the Godzilla novelization. I just saw they did like a Megalon for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
They're doing Godzilla vs. Megalon right now.
They're great. So
they're absolutely great crew over there.
Yeah. So shout out to them. Excited for it. But in more Godzilla book news, forget the novelization. We got Godzilla with pirates.
Yes. Godzilla Here There Be Dragons. June 2023. So we're just a few months away. It's been this first half of the year was a little slow with the Kaiju releases. I mean, all we had for DVDs was Ultraman Max and the 2 Kamen Rider releases. And then it quieted down. There hasn't been really much at all. And now we got, like, comics are rolling out like crazy now again, because a lot of the series had ended, and now this is going to be pretty epic. I mean, Godzilla during pirate times.
I can't believe this is happening.
Did you see that cover for the, it's like the C cover, the RI cover?
Is that the one with the ship on his back?
That one is an absolutely sick cover. That's the cover B.
Oh, it's the cover B?
Yeah, I'm talking about the one. It's a 2-page cover. I think I texted it to you before when we tweeted it out. It's Godzilla, and he's just surrounded by like so many monsters. You got Baragon, Megalon, Anguirus,
yes, I saw that one. I saw that one.
Yeah,
I was actually getting like the cover for this, and I saw all the covers, and I'm like, which one is he talking about?
That cover is awesome. All the covers for this are awesome.
I am super excited for this. Like, I wonder like what the pitch was at IDW. Did they just say Godzilla with pirates, and they just were like, okay, yeah, sure, we're doing it.
Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. Compass, black ship. Let's do it.
Yeah, maybe they'll have maybe wild fan theory here. The final monster is Cthulhu, but like a Davy Jones kind of like from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Davy Jones. I want to see him like underwater, like fighting Kraken and stuff like that. Yeah, have Cthulhu be the big one.
Or you can make it Davy Jones, like call him Davy Jones instead of Cthulhu.
But like the SpongeBob Davy Jones.
Yeah.
Oh man,
good.
It's just like such a fun idea. Like,
yeah. This is gonna be, and the art looks good. They showed a couple pages. They showed the one with the map. It has Ibra on it. I forget who else was on that map. I wanted to look at that one more time before I came on here, but I'm really excited for this one. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to cover this one.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to do an issue by issue release.
Yes, reviews. We are. This is going to be our MMPR versus Godzilla for this year.
Yeah, I think so, and it's around the same time frame too, actually.
Yeah, I cannot. I'm just like still like I'm just.
The release time is perfect because it's like a summary type of story too.
Yeah,
it's running June.
I wish
July, August, September, October, but
I'm happy we're getting the comic books, and I love comic books. This is such a good idea. This should be like an anime. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
Like I want a Godzilla pirate movie. I didn't even know I wanted this until I heard the idea.
Well, it's almost like the Rage Across Time comics. Like it would be cool to see him in different time periods besides modern day and everything. You know?
That would actually be a really good anime too, because they just do one episode at a time.
Yeah, they could do like one shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
like an anthology style anime. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, and in other comic book news, we're going to be doing like mad dash on this one. A couple updates on some crowd-funded comic books. I actually forgot one in here. But first, we have Stomped. The physical rewards have been shipped, and they should be showing up in your mailboxes, if not like today, very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you got yours. I didn't get mine yet. Mine had a commission card with it, so that might be a little slower.
It might
Although
be.
I think I did see him tweet the card that he drew for me.
Oh, nice.
That was a little while back, though. So.
I've seen a couple people have their cards, like have like their commission.
Yeah.
I think I saw like a Godzilla drawing because he's been posting his art.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Yeah. Super excited.
I can't wait to get my hands on that.
Yeah. No, I'm like itching to film an unboxing because I'm like, oh my god. Like I already read all the comics, but I just want to like have everything, touch it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the fold outs on issue 4.
Yes, that's what I'm really excited for is the centerfolds and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then as far as like things I forgot to add into this, the Toku Cyber Uprising? I have it on my iPad.
Oh, yeah, Neon Cyber Uprising, yes.
Yeah, Neon Cyber
the
Uprising.
Digital rewards came out for that, so everyone got the PDFs and that yesterday. It looks like a Kamen Rider-ish Sentai. It's a Toku comic series. Looks awesome.
Yeah, here's the cover. For those of you who are interested, I'll try to put a link in the description, but it was a Kickstarter. I don't know if it's available outside. I'll try to link the creator's website or Twitter account or something.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but I just have to get a lunch break at work and I will read this.
And the digital came with a bunch of, I don't know if you looked into that full, the digital came with a bunch of other like indie comics too.
Yes.
Really good.
Yeah, so super excited about that one. High hopes for it. The art looks really good.
Yeah.
So super excited about that. And then we have Fall of Man. Should be shipping sometime this week, if not early next week. It sounds like.
Yes. And I didn't. Did you know it came with the novella? I just saw the novella come out of nowhere, and I'm like, did I not read the description well?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know what tier you backed. I can't remember.
I backed that like featured tier.
Oh, so you're getting it?
Yes.
So I backed. I think I backed the digital, the scripts, and the physical.
Yeah.
I kind of messed up my Indiegogo contribution because I didn't realize that they came. I didn't realize that it came with the digital, so I backed the digital and I backed the physical, and I contributed like 3 times because I didn't realize it all came together.
You really helped it happen.
So I think I'm gonna get like 1 or 2 packages.
You probably should have just got the featured tier at that point.
I should have, but I was thinking
he put out for backers. He sent out a special link to the featured tier where it was discounted. Oh, that's a novella?
This is the novella. I ordered it off of Amazon.
Nice. So how big is it? How long is it? It looks like a nice size
decent
book.
Size. It's about the size of the not the Scott Saraceni ones. The what are the smaller Godzilla books?
Yeah, I believe that's Scott.
133 pages.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Text. Oh, that's the end of the book. Really I don't want to show the text. That's the end of the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, decent size little text on there if you can kind of see the printing.
So it's a few lunch breaks for me, and then all right.
Yeah, if I actually get a lunch break at work, I could read this probably in 1 or 2 sittings.
And it's a prequel to the Fall of Man comic series.
Yes. Yeah.
There's only 1 issue out right now. He's working on a 2nd issue. He's been posting the art and everything.
Yes, and he's going to be changing websites for that. But once we get an official announcement of like when it's going to be going live, we'll start saying like, what the website is and everything like that.
I honestly think Kickstarter is the way to go. I like too. The one cool thing that Indiegogo does have is that the comic Fall of Man is in demand. So if you didn't back it, you could still go to the Indiegogo page and buy a copy of it.
Yeah.
And you could get it.
Yeah, that's
if you do the digital, you'll get the digital right now.
Yeah.
It's available.
That's what I like about Indiegogo. But my main gripe though with it is just like this is nothing against like anyone in particular, but like they have all these people who put out these amazing comics, and like they put them out, and then like they're not available after the campaign.
Yeah, the new trend with I feel like a lot of current comics now, though a lot of the current campaigns that we've been covering on here is that they give you the previous issues
Yeah, that's
in
true.
the follow-up campaigns.
That's true, but like I don't
But
know.
sometimes they do go out of print, and if you missed out, you missed
Yeah,
out.
yeah. If you missed out, you missed out, and it's just like not don't have every variant available. Have your backer exclusive ones,
Yeah,
but like if your project's over, you're not gonna have it. You're not gonna post it again.
yeah,
Make an Etsy shop where I could just
yeah,
buy the digital version and you just
yeah.
send it to me.
I did pick up another I don't even know if it was a Kickstarter. I saw a random tweet about it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." I picked it up. I can't even tell you the name of it right now. I don't want to pull up my phone to start looking for it. I just got the notification the other day that it finally shipped. Though it's a physical version, but it came from like a Etsy-ish style shop.
Yeah,
I believe it's like a mine themed like kaiju hero.
yeah. Okay.
Like I said, I just saw it and got it and forgot about it, and I just got the notification that it's coming out. I'll have to share that later on of what the title of that series is,
Yeah,
and then Kaijus and Cowboys is literally just a few weeks away. We're talking like 3 weeks at this point. April 17th. Pre-registration page is up on Kickstarter. If you want to back it, I would totally recommend it. The first two issues were awesome. Well, issue 0 and issue 1 were awesome.
yeah,
This campaign is gonna give you issue 1, issue 0. I don't believe will be available. Um, but yeah, Frankie B and Matt Blair are always doing excellent work. I believe Frankie said the other day that he was working on issue 6 art already. So
yeah.
I'm wondering if the pace on these Kickstarters and campaigns is just gonna be like, all right, next one, next one, next one, next one, because there's this one. There's a little gap. I know between issue 0 and issue 1, it was a little bit of a longer gap, but that was like during COVID and everything. But hopefully now that that's over, these get rolling.
I'm thinking a good amount of space between campaigns is probably like 3 months.
Yeah,
Like to
I
me, that's
mean,
a good
yeah.
gap.
Once people get their product, then let them enjoy it a little. Then once after a couple months of shipping them, boom. But
Yeah.
I don't want to rush you guys.
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no, no.
excited.
Yeah, no.
We're just excited to consume it
That's
all.
not. Yeah, that's not what I was getting at. I mean, I'm just saying for me, like every 3 months. Oh yeah, got the next issue. Got the next issue.
Yeah.
But like, take as much time as you need. Make it perfect.
And on one more Kickstarter crowdfunding thing is the Spectrum-Man Heroes trade paperback from Antarctic Press. It's already successfully funded, so you don't need to worry about, oh, I'm going to give them money, I'm not going to get it. It's successfully funded, so you get a softcover, hardcover, digital edition. They have bookmarks, trading cards, poster cards. Um, I've been covering them. I did Lion Maru. I did Electrozoid Voyager. Um, who else did I do? What was the last one?
Something Leo.
Oh
Leo
yeah,
something.
Kaio Man,
Yeah.
Tiger 7, and then the Spectrum Man is the last one to end the series. And that I actually just got my copy. It's on the shelf. It's still in the envelope. I still haven't opened it yet. I believe that one is the Zornow cover that I have, and I'm waiting. Oh, actually, no, the Zornow cover is the one that I'm waiting on actually to come in. But uh, excellent, excellent comics. All of them are one-shot style, and the trade paperback collection is gonna bring them all together in a nice little book. And Anarch Press does an excellent job with their trade paperbacks. And on top of that, on Twitter in a little exchange with Anarch Press, they did confirm that they will be doing a trade paperback for the Koa Raptor one-shots this summer. So you could look out for that too. So if I were you guys, I would follow Antarctic Press's Kickstarter page so you know when that goes live. So
Yeah.
anything new that comes out, because they just dropped this Spectrum Man one out of the sky. I'm in the Antarctic Press group on Facebook, so I just happened to catch it in the morning when I woke up, and I was like, "Whoa, where did this come from?" And I got on that like right away.
Yeah, I think there was something that came with the hardcover that I wanted, so I got the hardcover version. I can't
I got
remember
the
what it was.
hardcover. Just
It might
'cause
have been pins, because usually I'll pay extra for
it's
pins.
always pins for you.
Yeah, like usually, like if there's like a
I
tier
don't
that
know if
comes
I
with
noticed
pins,
that.
I that or maybe it was cards.
Yeah, there's cards. You can do add-ons.
There was something that it came with that I was like, oh well, I gotta
The
get the
add-ons
hardcover
were like
version.
mistitled. Like they had like cards like listed twice. I haven't
Yes,
checked back. I wanna do all the add-ons, but I wanna make sure
you're
I do
getting
it right.
everything.
Yeah. And that's it. That covers our news. I mean, we had a lot of news
Yeah,
today,
there's a
sorry
lot. Yeah, a
guys.
lot of news. Almost an hour of news. Oh my god. Well, we're gonna get through these two reviews relatively quickly. So transitioning over, we're gonna be reviewing the Territory series, and this is gonna be Territory issue number 1. This is by Blake McCarthy and art by Chris Sassman.
Yes.
Um,
Excellent art.
Amazing
It's
art.
such a like gritty looking. It reminds me of the Walking Dead comics a little. Um, I've said before, it's post-apocalyptic kaiju. It's kind of like if they did Walking Dead with kaiju instead of zombies in a way, but it's a little different though. It's more Horizon Zero Dawn jammed in there too, because it's everyone's kind of reverted to like a tribal state now, as you see above us. Um, and the story opens up with our main character Alkia. She's got a deer in her sights. She's about to shoot it, and then her buddy Nebo. Oh yeah,
No, I'm just showing off the covers. You can keep
yeah.
continue
Look at those
talking.
awesome covers. Her buddy Nebo jumps in and he's like, "Yo, we got to get out of the way here. He's coming." And she's like, "What?" So they go, they take coverage, and then the Great Horn, which is this big guy over here, the bear with the horns, um, shows up and absolutely just annihilates the deer, lets out a roar. The two of them just kind of like watch in fear.
Yeah.
And Alki's first thought was, the Great One is a gift. We got to witness the Great One make a kill, and Nebo's like looking at her like, all right, yeah,
Yeah, he was like,
sure,
you were almost the kill.
yeah. He's like, I just saved you, but they keep walking. They're like, oh, what a blessed day this is. It's a great sign. Aki's going on and on about this blessing, and she's a young hunter, so not many hunters have seen the Great One, which their tribe worships.
I think they were
So
saying it had been like a generation.
yes, and you can see she wears the necklace around her neck over there. But they're walking. They come across a church, and she's like, "Oh, this used to be a." They say this used to be a place of worship. Like this is like way in the future. Like it's to the point where people don't
Quite
remember what
remember.
churches are. They don't even. They think airplanes are almost things of myth, legend. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
people used to fly in the sky. So she
Yeah, I'm taking
stops at
it as like maybe like 150 to 200
yeah,
years.
yeah, and she stops to pray at the church, and like once again, Nebo's kind of like, all right, yeah, and then they come across a big crater, and I didn't understand this time around reading what the goo was. There was like goo in the crater that they like pick up,
Yeah, I wasn't sure either.
like, and they were like, oh, this like they pick it up. They're saying this slime. It's like this slime, and they say it's gonna cure the cursed and the sickness. We didn't quite get to that in this issue with the curse and the sickness, so I'm curious, like if it's like some like kaiju blood or something that they use medicinally to heal
Yeah.
their sick.
But it was like coming out of pipes.
Yeah, it looked like it was coming out of a pipe too, which is like
Very
it looked like it
strange.
was like sewage runoff, honestly, to me. But they collect this stuff. They see a deer, and Nebo and Aki are like, oh, the first one to kill it has to gut it when we get back to camp. And of course, the first one to kill doesn't have to get it. Of course, Alkia gets the kill, and they get back to camp. They're all greeted. And they're like, "Oh, did you hear it?" And they're like, "Yeah, we saw it. We saw the great one." And Alki's parents are like, "We're so proud of you. You're the youngest hunter to witness the great one and get a kill before it." And everyone's really excited that the great ones appeared. They're all celebrating. They got deer meat because they brought back a successful kill. And Alki is dancing around. And but prior to this, Alki's dad kind of gives Nebo crap, kind of like, "Get that guy away from me. He'll stay away from my daughter.
Stay away from my daughter." That was like the most "stay away from my daughter" vibes ever.
Yeah. And she's dancing around, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you come dance with me, Nebo?" And he kind of gets pissed with her. He's like, "I'm gonna get caught, and your dad's gonna be pissed at me." And she's like, "Oh, we'll go somewhere else." And he's like, "Just like we would have gone somewhere else if the great one came in front of us and almost killed you." He's like, "Everything's a game to you, and not everything's a blessing." And he is not into this whole worship of the kaiju at all. No. He's like, it's clearly just an animal with primal instincts, killing its hunt and killing its prey and just getting some food. He's like, none of this is a blessing. He's like, everybody's all crazy, and you gotta start to learn. And it kind of cuts to the leader of the tribe at the end, and he's like, "Oh, this is a blessed day. We're going to go on a pilgrimage because the Great One has appeared. We're going to go to where the Great One defeated the devil and prove that he was the Great One." And then all of a sudden they hear a roar. It's the Great Horn. And he's like, "Oh, don't worry. He's just showing his appreciation for us." And then he lets out another roar. And then you see like this leader. He's like, I don't know what he is, like a priest or a shaman or something of the tribe. He's even covering his ears and closing his eyes, like, because he's scared. And then he's like, on second thought, he's not grateful. We didn't do enough. We got to leave on the pilgrimage immediately tomorrow. And that's how it ends, with the big guy roaring. And it's been a while since I read this first issue, and so it was like all new to me again reading this. Yeah. What did you think of it? This was your first time reading it.
I really liked it, and it was definitely like a different series. It's got a lot of kind of like subtext to it. I felt like,
yes,
like definitely like like the believer or the non-believer.
Yes.
People debating both sides of religion, and even just kind of cultism or tribalism to begin with. A lot of interesting stuff that's going on. I'm really interested to see what happens in issue 2, because I kind of want to see where they go with these themes. I want to see what that green goo is. And I want to see other kaiju. I want to see them fighting, and I want to see kind of what the lore of this world is. Like, yes, is there other tribes that have their own god, and do they fight each other? And I have a feeling this could be where it's going, but I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if you notice, like, on the back of the cover of each issue, there's a different symbol for each kaiju, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to spoil the second issue, but we do get to see other kaiju in the second issue.
Well, yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, I have the second
issue. And then the third issue, from what
yeah, the second and third issues right here. I know there's other kaiju coming.
Yeah.
But I just don't know to what capacity.
The third issue was supposed to be kaiju packed, from what Blake was saying. So I haven't read it yet. It's been out for a while on digital. I'm like, I'm going to wait for the... I was very stubborn with this. I'm like, I'm going to wait for the physical, and I wanted you to read it. That way we could both talk about it. Yeah, I'm really into this series. I said, just the way it plays out...
it's very much a pilot to a TV show.
Yes. I've said it over and over again. This would make an excellent TV show, or even maybe a mini series. But, oh man, this absolutely excellent story. And like you said, I would love to see a TV series of this.
Yeah, I really would.
You gotta start pitching that out there, man.
I'm like super interested to see what's going on. It's like this. I feel like this was like a pilot. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. The issue definitely felt like a pilot.
And like I want to see like, okay, like where is this going? So issue 2, really looking forward to. That's gonna be probably like my next read.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's
same here. And yeah, like Nebo's poking and prodding will start to make Alkia question her faith and everything. And I think that's going to be a major theme of this series is just questioning faith and what's right, what's wrong.
yeah, no, definitely, and that's kind of like where I'm really interested to see like where this goes because it's interesting. It's an interesting take to go with for kaiju.
Yes. Like I said, I like the different time periods. Like, everyone's seen the modern day. We either want to go to the past, the future's cool.
Yeah,
Pacific Rim was future-ish, but this is a different future. This is a future end of the world kind of, post-apocalyptic. Like, it's like a future, but in the past because everyone's reverted back to tribal times now.
yeah,
There's
you
no
know,
technology or anything.
yeah. It's very
They're hunting with bows.
yeah, hunting with bows, very basic, and I want to see just like are the kaiju at the forefront of this? Is it going to be like one of those series where it's like, yeah, there's kaiju there, but it's really more about the humans and their interactions and
I think it's definitely a lot about the humans, but there'll definitely be some kaiju action in the third one and the second one.
yeah,
Not spoiling it though.
yeah, yeah. No, I really have to get on it. So next episode, which is probably going to be our 1 year episode, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we're going to be covering
possibly.
that. Possibly, depending on the timeline, if we have time to film another one or
Yeah,
not.
schedule's a little tight next week, so
Yeah,
yeah, it's probably gonna be our 1 year anniversary show. Then we'll have to say.
yeah. All right, so I guess it is time for the main event, and we are doing Kong Escapes.
King Kong Escapes.
Um,
Now, this one was always one of my favorites. When you threw it out there, I'm like, oh, I'm always up for some Doctor Who.
yes, always down for some Doctor Who. Um, one of
Not
the
that
things, one of the things that always stood out to me was Mechanic Kong, and like this is going to be so like stupid, like, but I grew up watching Godzilla, so I know Mecha Godzilla and everything, and then you hear like, oh, there's a movie where King Kong fights a Mecha King Kong, and you watch it and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Didn't never realize that this predates Mechagodzilla.
It
Mechanic
does.
Kong is first.
Yes. Yeah, and the theme music for Mechanic Kong was eventually kind of twisted to make Mechagodzilla's theme in the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla movies.
Yeah. So
So
it's like such like a cool like full circle. It's like, no, this is the originator. And
yeah.
the design on Mechanic Kong is just it's really good.
Yeah, it's to the point where it's kind of basic, but it's like perfect that it's not too elaborate, not over the top. It's mechanical gorilla. He's got the bomb strapped around him and the hypnosis beam on his head, and they made him super basic. He's not, and we'll get into it as we go through the route, but Mechanic Kong was even made to be used as a weapon for the movie. It was just a mining tool.
Yes. It was just King Kong's the perfect being, but we can't find him. So we just made our own using this spec sheet that they have from scientist, what's his name? Carl Nielsen.
Carl Nelson, the
Carl
captain
Nelson.
of the submarine.
Yeah.
And so the movie focuses on the crew of the submarine, Carl Nelson, who is it? Carl Nelson, I can't think of.
It's Colonel, like, oh my god, Sally or something like that.
Yes. Oh, let me see. I have the names on here. Yeah. Okay.
It was like they like barely use the character names. Like,
No, they
you
really
hear Doctor Who and you hear Carl Nelson 5 million
Yes.
times in this movie.
Yes.
And you never hear the other character names.
Susan Watson,
Okay.
who's played by Linda Miller, but dubbed by Julie Bennett. In the English version, she's dubbed and in the Japanese version, she's dubbed. There's a little. That's one of the things that about one of the little fun facts. Linda Miller, all she was a body. She spoke. She spoke all the lines, but nobody got to hear them because at the time she was just a model and not part of the Actors Guild. Yeah. So here in the States, the Actors Guild wouldn't allow her voice to be used on screen.
Yeah.
And she thought it was unfair because, Rhodes Reason, who plays Carl Nelson, he got to redub his lines, but she didn't. He's the
only person who dubbed his own lines.
Yes.
The other male characters are all dubbed by the same person.
Yeah. And then Akira Takarada is
Lieutenant Jiro.
Chiro. So it's really Jiro, Carl Nelson, and Susan Watson. That's the main crew of the submarine that they focus on. And then Doctor Who is done by, I forgot his name.
Paul Frees?
Yes, Paul Frees. And he, because this was a Rankin-based movie at the time.
Rankin Bass.
He was their Rankin Bass movie. He was their voice guy because you may know him as the Burgermeister from Santa Claus is Coming to Town. He was the voice in a lot of those movies. He was the crossing guard from Frosty the Snowman. Yeah. So I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but this was the first watch through where I was like, is Doctor Who the Burgermeister? Wow. And that's the first time that realization hit me, and I could not unhear it the whole movie.
Yeah,
we only have the English dub here in the States. They never released the Japanese subtitle version, which is, I believe, it runs actually about like 8 minutes longer than the English version.
I really wonder what they cut.
I believe they cut. I read it was a better introduction of Susan Watson's character and a extended conversation or an additional conversation with Madam X or Madam Piranha, as they called her in the Japan subtitled version.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist here.
I gotta say,
unless you know where to go.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, I am completely on Linda Miller's side here. The person that they got to dub her did an awful job.
Yeah.
She's the most annoying sounding character in the whole movie.
And she does the voice for Julie Bennett. She does the voice for her and Madam X or Piranha, or whatever you want to call her.
It's just like so unenthusiastic.
Yeah.
The way she's calling out for Kong. She's like, Kong.
Oh, oh yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yes. Yeah. And then the way she...
Like, I can imagine she went to the premiere and watched it and was like, what did they do to me?
She's like, I don't sound like that. I mean, she knew. She knew she didn't get to dub her. I believe she knew she did. But it wasn't going to be her voice.
She complained that Rhodes Reason got to do it.
Yeah, but he was an actor.
Yeah, that was the issue. Just old-fashioned union. You're not going to say any lines in this movie. We're not giving you benefits.
Yeah, I think it was a little of that from the times too. A little sexist there.
Yeah. But I guess should we just get into it?
Yeah, we'll get into it. Yeah.
So, movie starts off, submarine oil seeking mission kind of cuts back and forth between them and Doctor Who. Doctor Who's showing off his Mechanicon and how he's going to use it to start mining Element X. And, Mechanicon goes down there, drops some bombs to kind of like make a fissure, goes down in the fissure, and then he just like breaks.
Yeah, because whatever the Element X is like super magnetic and it fries his circuits. And it's funny, they have Element X and then Madam X is the one funding.
Yes.
X gonna give it to you. I mean, how many X's we got going on here?
Yeah. So he's like, we have to rebuild Mechanicon, insulate all his circuitry, and we'll be back up and running. Everybody's working overnight until we get this done. So cuts back to the ship, and
they're chit-chatting about this island. Susan walks in on Jiro and Nelson, and she sees the pictures, and she sees they have a picture of these giant steps, and they're talking about the Legend of Kong. She's like, "Oh, you think we could stop there?" And they're like, "No, it's not on our route for an oil-seeking mission." But then underwater earthquake happens. There's a rock slide. It damages the sub, and they happen to surface not too far from Mondo Island, which is the island they were talking about. I don't know.
Even though they say it's not on the way.
It ends up being on the way. They're a bunch of liars.
They really are.
Once again, they're lying to Linda Miller in this movie again.
Again, yes. So they go to the island, and it's like,
I don't even know why. They were like, "Oh, we're here, we're in the neighborhood, so we might as well just poke in."
Yeah, Mondo Island, which is apparently has population 1. So it's just an old guy that lives there, and he speaks Japanese, which I'm very happy they actually left the Japanese in there. And I'm happy that, they actually made it like, okay, it's a Polynesian island, and there's a Japanese person that lives there, and they didn't do any Godzilla versus Kong cancel culture stuff going on. They just kept it nice and simple. And, she's just like chilling there, and they're like, this island's too dangerous, okay? So you have to stay here
by yourself,
and we're gonna go off and explore.
Yeah, like, why did they even bring her? That's what I was wondering. Like, why did you brought her on the island, and they're flying like this like hovercraft, like boat car thing that looks like futuristic-y that comes out the top of the sub.
It's the only piece of future tech in the entire movie.
Like, stay with the car, watch the car.
Yes.
And they're like, we're gonna go scavenge the island, even though this guy's yelling at us, telling us that it's forbidden. We're in Kong's land, and we're gonna be cursed.
And this is the other weird part of the movie is like they're kind of like blowing him off, like yeah, right, Kong.
Yeah.
But they just had a scene where they said they knew he was on the island,
and they believed he existed.
They had drawings of him and everything.
Yeah.
Isn't like...
Well, it's a drawing of a legend.
But I thought Carl Nielsen, like the way Doctor Who sells him is he's the foremost expert on Kong.
The Legend of Kong.
Like, maybe it was lost in the dub.
Yeah, maybe.
But like, it doesn't make any sense.
There's some plot holes in this thing.
Some. We're going to get to how Mechanic Kong's destroyed. But anyway, so I'm sorry, I got you. But so they're on the island, and of course Gorosaurus cops out, and where is he? Not with the two guys. He's attacking the woman that was left with the car. So they were like, oh man, who could have thought this was going to happen? We left her in an open plane where she was completely visible to anything in the forest.
No coverage.
Zero coverage. So Gorosaurus is like wilding his way over.
And then starts screaming.
She starts screaming. And then Kong wakes up and like comes out. And I got to say the suit acting in this was great because Kong actually moved like a gorilla would move. Ish, like arms are dragging kind of. A lot of these, like, I understand it's Toho suit acting and it's like above par and everything like that, except for the fight scene at the end. But above par, but like a lot of times you get these like King Kong ripoff movies, which I know this isn't officially licensed. The person acts like a chimpanzee and is like, ooh, and it's like so over the top and cartoonish. Play it subtle. He's a gorilla. He's a giant gorilla. Just let it be. And I really appreciate the suit acting in this movie because it was really spot on, except for the last fight scene, which we're going to get to, where they start busting out jujitsu. But Kong starts fighting Gorosaurus. And honestly, I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times. I do not remember this fight being this brutal. I don't know if it's just because I'm older now, but like... Kong is just wailing on
Oh yeah,
Gorosaurus.
he beats the crap out of Gorosaurus.
And then he gets up and he's like, "Oh, you want some more?" And this continues to go more.
Yeah, because the whole breaking the jaw thing is a callback to the 1933 movie.
Which
like with
you
the T-Rex.
have to.
Yes.
Like, it's like any Kong movie, you need the breaking of the jaw.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's iconic move there for Kong.
Yeah, that's his finisher. Godzilla has the comic breath. Kong, jaw bust.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is. So they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna get out of here.
And like he's, the usual, like he's asphyxiated with the blonde lady.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, pretty blonde lady. He puts her down, and like she talks to him a lot too. She's like, Kong, put me down. That's the annoying part, like.
Yes, it really is. Like, I wish they would have just let her
talk
do her
normal.
lines, like, because
Yeah.
it's really distracting in the movie. Like, I almost want to see the Japanese dub. Just to be like, does this play across better, as far as like the tone and everything?
Yeah, it might.
But they get they skedaddle off the island. They get in their hovercraft, and then like, not Manda comes out of the water.
Yeah, it's like a straight snake, the sea snake.
The snake. But and then like another like Kong just like takes a boulder and just like back throws it, and it just like it was an amazing shot. Like the way they filmed it, I don't know how they filmed it, but like he was right on with that thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and he fights the sea snake while they all rush back to the boat. They're shooting at them and Kong. And the Cardinal's like, "Oh, stop shooting! Don't shoot us, and don't shoot Kong." Because Kong's just trying to help him.
Yeah.
And kind of just wrestles the snake. Kind of, I don't know how does he even kill it? He just kind of like snaps it. Or scurries off after. And they get back in the ship. It's all fixed. And then Kong starts shaking the ship. And
she has to go up.
She has to go up and be like, "Yo, Kong, come on. This is where we live. Don't mess up our home." Like, she kind of explains it to him. And then he's like, all right. And then Kong's like all depressed that she leaves. And then we cut back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, like, they found Kong on the island.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they left the island. They went to the UN headquarters to say that they found the island. And then it goes back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, and then Doctor Who's like, oh, they found Kong on the island where Carl Wilson,
said he was.
Senior legend expert on Kong, said he was, but was also saying he wasn't there. So they go there. They, like, gas the island.
Yeah, they use ether. They go with, just a massive fleet of helicopters, and they just bomb Kong with ether.
Yeah, so
and,
he's coming out.
I felt like this scene gave me. I wonder if it inspired the opening scene of Skull Island, because I got like kind of the same vibes
with the trees being thrown.
The trees being thrown at the helicopters. I was like, oh, I think Skull Island definitely referenced this.
Yes, it did. I at least I felt like it did, because I was watching that and I was like, he's throwing the trees, like very Skull Island.
Yeah.
He gets knocked out. The one resident of the island is like yelling at Doctor Who, and he just like shoots him like 3 times because apparently this guy like just won't go down. She's like, bam, bam.
The shots are very dramatic too. He's just like, oh.
Yes.
Like each one was like a different pose.
And like it didn't kill him.
Like a freeze pose.
So they kidnap Kong. Carl Olsen goes back to the island. Shows up. Kong's gone. Native guy is still alive. He's able to tell them what happened. And then Jiro is like, yep, this is ether. They used ether.
And then they find like a shell and everything.
Yes.
And they take the metal to go get analyzed, and like, oh, it came from a country that's not from Japan, but it's somewhere around there. They won't say where this Madam X is. Like,
I feel like
unknown country. I
I
don't
feel
know
like
if
they were heavily implying North Korea.
Oh.
Because when he's asking her like, where are you from, and he's like, are you from Japan, are you from Thailand, are you from, and then he goes, are you from China, and then Doctor Who comes in and he goes, she's not from any of there, but you're getting close.
Oh.
So I think that they didn't want to say North Korea, but I think they were heavily implying that North Korea.
Oh.
That's at least the vibe that I got.
I think you're right on that one.
So at least that in the again, we were watching the English dub because there's no legal access to the Japanese dub in America.
I mean, yeah, subtitled version or anything.
Yeah, but at least in the English version, that's how it plays off. And we kind of skipped. I just kind of skipped ahead a couple scenes, but he's like, "Are you going to be able to track down this metal?" And he's like, "Yeah, as long as it's not from the North Pole." Cut to the North Pole.
I thought that was great too. Yeah,
it was a little bit of humor. Cut to the North Pole. Kong is in the North Pole, and he kind of wakes up to seeing Mechani Kong kind of like in the repair bay.
And he's like dazed still, and he's like, "Is that another me right now?"
Yes, and he is chained down to the floor with what would be, let's say, if I was Kong, the equivalent of like a dollar store keychain, like for like the size of his body. So of course he rips that thing right out of the ground, and he's like banging on the bars. And Doctor Who goes and he has his little hypnotize sphere, and he's like, "You're gonna go mine element X."
And it's like strobing and hypnotized. So when he goes into the cave that they have a door to built now, and he starts breaking up the rocks, digging it up, and Madame X is like, "All right, they're gonna get it done with this." But then the element X starts strobing and takes him out of like his hypnosis state, and he had like they attach these like receivers on his ears so that he could hear their commands. He rips those out.
Yeah, AirPod Pros.
The pre-AirPods. Yeah,
they basically were.
Yeah, they were Bluetooth headphones. Who knew? They were so ahead of their time back then.
Innovative.
Yeah. So he begins to run back to the base, and they drop the doors to lock him in the cave because they're like, "Oh, he's going to destroy this place if we can't get him under control now." Meanwhile, Doctor Who is like, "Yo, how are we going to control him now?" So they set out and they track down Carl Nelson's submarine, and he has his guys pose as UN delegates. And they're like, "Oh, we need you on an emergency thing back at the UN." And they get on the plane, and right off the bat, they're like...
Very sketchy.
Jiro's like, "These guys aren't Japanese." And like, then it just cuts to the North Pole. I almost thought like, they would put up a fight on the plane or something, or like they'd get knocked out. But like, it's just like, boom, all right, here you are. You're not in Japan. We said we were taking you back to the UN in Japan, but now you're at the North Pole. Like, how do they miss that part of the flight where they're like, "Oh, there goes Japan." Like,
yeah, so like right. Theoretically, they were probably on like a 7-8 hour flight.
Yeah.
Like, for what should have probably been like a 2-3 hour flight, because Mondo Island, at least on the map that they showed, wasn't particularly far from Japan.
Yeah.
So I was like, some leaps in logic here in this movie. Don't think too hard about it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this whole movie was made to kind of hype up the King Kong animated series. So it was a movie that was made to hype up a cartoon back in the 60s.
Yes. I mean, very much like a promotional movie. I wish they would have done more with Kong with Toho, but I'm sure everybody else does too. But they get to the ship, not the ship, the North Pole, and Nelson kind of captures Madam X's eye, and she's like, "Oh, like, why don't you come over to my cabin?" I keep thinking it's a ship, but it's not a ship, but it's kind of a ship.
And they're all prisoners too, by the way. But yes. Like, he comes and goes.
He comes and goes, and Jiro gets locked up with Susan. And this is another great thing because they're like, we're going to torture them. We're going to freeze them to death. We're going to open up the door and they're going to freeze. And you have to get them to control Kong, right?
Because they think Susan can control Kong because Kong likes her.
So, you know, with his friends freezing to death, he does things like enjoy cocktails with Madam X and have debates about the morality of what she's doing and
a game of chess with Doctor Who.
Yeah, a game of chess with Doctor Who. Like, I'm like, how much time has passed? Enough time to apparently put an entire sheet of ice across the cell bars.
And they have nothing but like their regular clothes on. They don't have any like jackets or anything. Yeah. So she's wearing like a pencil skirt and a shirt.
Yes. So I'm like, and he's like, come over here for warmth. So I'm like, Jiro's like the man in this, right? And Carl kind of just like there for the ride. He's not really doing anything in this entire movie. You really think about it. What did he do? Almost nothing. He's there for the ride.
Yeah, he did a lot of talking.
It's Jiro and Susan that do everything. For the most part.
You're right.
Carl's just there for the ride. So he doesn't care that they're freezing. Theoretically, it was so cold in that cage that the air molecules solidified around the bars and formed a sheet of ice. But they didn't freeze to death.
And the walls were ice too. They really like put her face against the wall to like torture her.
Yes.
They're like, she's gonna get disfigured when she touches this wall.
So she's like,
so she begins. That's where it leads to Kong freaking out. I don't know how Kong knew this was happening. Like he was in a completely other place, and I don't even think she was screaming.
She was saying, Kong. No, she wasn't. She was.
It's like he just somehow knew she was in trouble, and he freaks out and he begins shaking the gate, and the cave just caves in. Yeah. And Kong rises above the ground. He doesn't actually break the gate from what they show. He just kind of digs himself out of the ground from the cave in.
Yeah, he's shaking the bar so hard it like collapses.
Yeah. And he just surfaces up top and begins gunning for the water. And they're like, oh, let's send McCarthy after him. So they send McCarthy after him. But once Kong gets in the water and begins swimming away, they're like, McCarthy can't go in the water. So now they go on a ship.
Yeah, now they go on a ship.
They go on a big aircraft carrier with the helicopters and everything. And they load up McCarthy Kong. And Kong's heading for Japan. And now they're in a race to catch Kong.
And they're still
nobody wants him to destroy Japan. Doctor Who's like, let him destroy Japan, but even Madam X is like, I don't like the way this is going. A lot of casualties. You got to stop them. We don't need the casualties. My country doesn't need this. I don't want to be associated with it. So she frees Carl Nelson and all of them while they're on the ship as they near Japan, and she's like, listen, you got to go this way. Here's some submarines and scuba gear. And they begin escaping the ship, but Doctor Who guys see them. They begin shooting. They outswim a boat filled with helicopters and life rafts, probably. But they do it somehow. And then they somehow, during this time, manage to get regular street attire and just stroll into the UN in a Hawaiian shirt. And they're like, stop that attack on Kong. Don't attack him. And they're like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Carl Nelson, and I'm a captain. And they're like, oh, I know you.
Yeah. So, like, they're still trying to coerce Susan into, like, trying to convince Kong not to, like, well, to like, try to control him.
Yeah, I mean, Kong's not really doing any destruction at all. He's kind of just running amok in Japan, really.
Yes.
He's did damage a couple things. They were hitting him with, like, spotlights, really. They weren't really using weaponry on him.
Yeah.
Were they?
Not I'm trying to remember. Super, like, there was tanks there, but, like, again, Jiro first tells them not to.
Yeah.
And they're like, why should we listen to you? And he's like, because Carl Nelson's here, and Carl Nelson says not to do it.
Yeah. They get, like, a call from the UN headquarters, like, all right, let them run the show.
And one of the other confusing things I really didn't get about this whole scene is You know, I was watching my kid while I was watching this movie. Mechanicon like bust out of the inside of a building. Where did he come from? How did it get him in the building?
Yeah, I mean the boat was out in the harbor. I guess he just walked down the harbor and he just happened to be like Kool-Aid manning through the buildings over there.
No, like, the way it was shot was he was in the building and like pops out of the roof. I was so confused.
I did not think about it.
How did he get in that building?
How did he get there?
How did he get there? Like it was like a freaking like birthday cake and he was a stripper. Like that's kind of like the like.
Now I'm seeing it back in my head now that you're telling. Like, I just didn't think about that.
So it gets to the point where
Kong picks up Susan.
yeah.
Just because she goes over to be like, calm him down, and now military's not going to shoot because she's in his hands. But then McCarthy starts doing some damage, so
he puts Susan down, and then Mechanicon picks up Susan.
Yes.
And then the fighting happens, and my whole like, I'm a mechanical gorilla. This is my good suit acting. I'm a gorilla. I'm gonna be doing gorilla moves acting. This goes out the window, and it turns into like pro wrestling, MMA, like doing throws and like arm bars and stuff like that, and they're moving fast. Like they completely threw it out the window, and the fighting was really good. Like I was like, oh man, this is so good. Like I want to see this fight, and then like I forget that fight lasts for about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah,
and then Mechanicon like sprints.
Yes,
to Tokyo Tower.
Yeah, he just takes off.
And then so does Kong, like full out like sprinting. I'm like, they could really move in these suits.
No, yeah.
Like,
no, they did.
Like they look like they were cumbersome, but like apparently they weren't. And like this is kind of where the scene, like I feel like the movie kind of like deteriorates a little bit, to be honest with you, because they're on the tower.
They climb the tower.
You can't do anything on the tower.
Yeah, he just puts her down. Kong puts Susan. No, not even. No, he's climbing up after McCarthy, and then McCarthy kind of just drops her.
Yeah.
So what was the purpose of taking her in the first place? And then Kong catches her as she's falling from the tower, so she doesn't splat on the ground. And he puts her down on the platform, and she starts to make her way down. Jiro sees her there, so he starts climbing up to save her. Not Carl.
Not Carl. Carl doesn't do anything.
So he starts climbing up there to help her shimmy back down the tower, and the two of them are just climbing this tower.
To what? Like, I understand it's a King Kong movie, and he climbs the Eiffel Tower, and he falls off the Empire State Building, and he falls off, and that's the movie. Like, I understand you have to, like, you wanted to put some type of tower thing in here. Have them fight on the tower, like.
They didn't even. Yeah,
they play with the scale.
They didn't even really fight on the tower. McCarthy Kong was on this side, Kong was on that side, and it's pretty much just Kong just starts shaking the tower, and the top of it snaps, and it kind of like shocks McCarthy Kong. So the McCarthy Kong is like with one arm, and Kong just kind of keeps shaking the thing. Yeah,
and then one thing I forgot to mention though, which is kind of hilarious. Before the fight scene happens between these two, Mechanicon gets the hypno thing installed on his head.
Yes.
And Jiro just shoots it off with a regular rifle.
Yes, I forgot about that.
He goes like two shots. This thing's off. Nothing is well put together by Doctor Who, because now we're going to the next scene where we get the destruction of Mechanicon. Madam X, who was already shot. Right, because Doctor Who shot. We didn't mention, but she's like, I don't really like this. We were talking about that scene.
Yeah,
he shoots her, but like in the arm, like here, and just like grazes her arm.
Yeah,
like that's how he shot her.
She pulls a gun on him because she wants to put a stop to it, and then he wrestles her, shoots her arm, and because she's kind of just sitting there on the couch, all pouty.
So then, like they're just sitting there. She tears 2 wires off of a wall.
Yeah, he's like, "What did you do?"
And then she shoots her and dies, and then Mechanicon just falls apart in 2 pieces and falls onto the ground.
Yeah, like it looks like he's falling off the tower, and you hear like shattering, like you would assume once it hits the ground it would shatter, but he's already in pieces before he even hit the ground. He hit nothing.
These two wires were so mission critical that she tore off the wall.
I was like, he just seemingly just 1 minute he's there, next minute you just see metal raining on the ground. And that's how he dies.
That's how he dies.
That's the destruction of McCarthy Kong.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where they came up with this idea. Nobody proof that. Were they phoning it home? I don't know, because they weren't. They could put the A team on this movie.
They did.
Because what was the movie? Was it Son of Kong? Was that the movie that Son of Godzilla? That was the movie that was in production, and that was like the B movie.
Yes, because they did, or was it Ibra Horror of the Deep?
It might have been Ibra Horror.
It's one of those two.
One of those beach movies that, granted, were a lower quality Godzilla movie, but
they were still pretty good.
Still good. I think better than this. It didn't make any sense. Like the whole Mechanic Kong getting destroyed thing, like so anticlimactic. Kind of
it really was,
and they weren't even fighting on the tower. Like, give me at least like I'm holding on with with an arm and like I'm kicking over to the side or something.
Yes. There was no contact.
Nothing. Like it was just like Kong was just on there just doing this. I don't want to be too vulgar. Like what it looked like he was doing to the tower, but like so anticlimactic. So now we go to like, okay, now we have to go get Doctor Who on his aircraft carrier. So actually kind of cool seeing Kong's running on this pier. The little Corvette models following him. And then Kong just like jumps into the water.
And then like, stop that boat.
Yeah, they're shooting at him and he's just swimming.
And they said to stop the boat.
Yes. They said stop the boat. He destroys the boat, tears it into pieces, punches it to death, like destroys.
And seemingly killing everybody on board. Doctor Who gets crushed by a desk.
Oh, a quick question about this, because this is the first question that came out of my mouth. So he gets crushed by a desk. This is a big desk with computers mounted on it, right? In his computer room where he's murdered people. On a boat. Are you telling me this table is not bolted to the ground? This table that presumably probably weighs a couple thousand pounds with all this metal computer equipment mounted inside of it?
Those bolts got knocked loose from Kong shaking it so much.
This is it's not like a folding table. It's not a wooden table. It's like your prototypical sci-fi metal computer control console thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
it's like the TARDIS control panel.
Yes. Essentially.
Doctor Who got killed by the TARDIS.
Yes, he got killed by the TARDIS. Like, I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, like none of this was very well executed.
Like it's like one of those things where like the ending was just like
they had to just do something
super abrupt. They're like, oh crap, we have to end this. How are we gonna do it? They're like, oh, you got like 10 minutes. What can you do in that time? They're like, oh, we'll crush him with the desk and have Mechanic Kong fall to the ground.
Yeah. And then, like, that's just kind of the end of the movie.
And then, it's just pretty much like the end after that. Like, that's literally it. Kong swims away after murdering a boat full of henchmen and whatnot. And, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, let's just go over it real quick. So, director Ishiro Honda, special effects Eiji Tsuburaya, music Akira Ikefube. Right? They bring in Akira Takarada to be like the main Japanese guy. Like, oh, we want like our head actor in this movie. Like, they put the A team in this movie. Like 100%. Like Toho put what they had behind it, and then seemingly lost interest.
That's what it seems like, because it starts off, in my opinion, it's got an absolutely super strong start.
I mean, just some of the best, at least Mechanic Kong, some of the best suit work. I like the Kong versus Godzilla Kong suit a little bit more, but these suits always change movie to movie. So it's just personal preference.
No.
But like, pretty good suit. I mean, very mobile. Probably one of the most mobile kaiju suits, except except for the Gargantuas, which is a very similar design anyway, except for the face.
No.
So like a lot of really good things into it. You have the interpromotional, like this is meant to be a US release movie. Like this is Toho's big, like, okay, we're gonna make it big. We got Rankin Bass, a cartoon in the West. And like it just seemingly just like really didn't, like, maybe they were just like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I still enjoy the movie, but yeah, the ending is just like the most like, it's just the most unsatisfying ending.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see the animated show. I want to see if it like continues on it. I don't know if it's really available. I have the DVD releases. I don't know if it's the full series.
No, it's not, unfortunately.
And it's not the greatest quality either. There's a place though to get it.
There's we can do some privateering.
Just do some Googling. You can find it.
Yeah. But that's probably gonna be like it for this movie. Closing thoughts. Iconic movie. I mean, just the imagery of it. I mean, what is, like, honestly, what is cooler than Mechanicon?
I mean, it inspired Mechagodzilla. It inspired the whole mechas.
Yeah, a little preview for you guys, just to show you guys this thing. Like, it's probably one of the best designed. I mean, you have a lot of really cool designed kaiju, but like, and you have Mechanicon on this side. Like, so cool, right? For me, top kaiju designs are Gigan, Mechanicon, Mechagodzilla. I'm calling Showa era.
Yeah.
I'd say those are my tops.
Megalon's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, Megalon's awesome. I like Jet Jaguar. I'm not really a big Ghidorah fanboy as far as the design goes, but that's gonna get me some hate.
It's iconic, but I know it's basically a three-headed dragon at the end of the day.
Yeah. But I hope we do get a remake, an actual legitimate remake of some sorts. Maybe the MonsterVerse would be interested in it. I don't know.
They wanted to try to do a Godzilla versus Mechanicon in the 90s, but they weren't allowed to use Kong's likeliness at all, so that got kiboshed in the 90s. And we would have seen Heisei Godzilla versus a robot Kong, but I think that's how come we ended up with Mechagodzilla 2 instead. Which personally is my least favorite Mechagodzilla design.
I love the Trendmaster toy for
yes.
it. I'm just gonna put it right here. I can't get this to stay up right.
I like it with the Garuda attachments and everything, but like
Kiryu
standalone, it's just like yes.
Like
Kiryu standalone, it's just so like, I think it's just such a bland looking Mechagodzilla. Like, it
doesn't have the
Showa
rivets.
had the red. Yeah, it's just like straight silver everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of cool things in this movie, a lot of great ideas. I just think the execution on a lot of it, like, what is element X? Why do they need it? How does Kong know what it looks like and where it is and how to mine it?
Because he was being told by Doctor Who.
Okay, you could tell me to, like, you can tell me and brainwash me to go get element X. I wouldn't know where it is.
It's true. He's like, go down that mine shaft right there that we made for you.
You'd be like, Dan, go mine gold. I'd be like, where? I hate to be so negative.
I've watched this movie a lot, and then watching it this time through, I was like, geez, I don't remember it being like this meh at the end. Like, I was like, this is like super abrupt and like anticlimactic. But
yeah. And so I want to see this being revisited.
yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I still love the movie.
Yeah, because it's got the coolest villain.
Yeah,
I just wish it did more.
yeah. I mean, we had Gorosaurus' first appearance too.
Yeah. I still think of the G-Fest when like the guy goes up to the guy in the Gorosaurus suit and he's like, roar for me, and what is it like, what's the MIB line? It's like, hey you guys, or something. So the guy just says that instead of roaring.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's hilarious, you gotta look it up.
Hey you guys.
Yeah, he just does that instead of actually roaring.
That's great. That's amazing. Oh,
but yeah, that's our review for Kong Lives. Don't know what we're gonna be doing.
King Kong Escapes.
King Kong Escapes.
Now, if you want to review a sketchy Kong movie, we could do King Kong Lives.
If we do if we ever get to the point where we do like a Patreon or something, I will do a non-sober review of that movie, but I think that's the only way you're gonna get me to watch that movie.
Oh man,
like we can do like a watch along or something, but like
you're like, pay me to watch this movie.
Yeah. Like I own it because like maybe one day I'll be like, hey, let's see how it is, but
it's got Sarah Connor in it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for the show. Next episode, we will be probably doing our 1 year, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna cover, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We got to do something that's 1 year, like ish. I want to save War of Gargantua's for a big thing, so we're not gonna do War of Gargantua's yet. I want that to be like a big deal when we do that one.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Bye.